Hey, my friend. Welcome back to the Cosmic Mystic, where we blend strategy and soul work to help healers, coaches, and conscious leaders, the introverted, high achieving spiritual women build soul aligned businesses that fully support their mission. I am Danie C, Muniz, creator of the Inner Alchemy Method, a 5-stage journey to soul led sovereignty where deep healing meets embodied leadership. My friend, I am so blessed and honored to be here with you today for this week's Sidereal Astrology Forecast. We are looking at the week of July 7th through the 13th. So we're going to talk about that full moon in Sagittarius that we have coming up and some other transits that are taking place this week. If you are new here, hello and welcome. Each video here on the channel is your guide to navigating the inner world and how that reflects in our outward or outer world. So, my friend, let's dive in with my favorite thing to do. And as you know, I'm going to disclaimer right here that this is first off sidereal astrology. Second, we have a podcast version of this. If you're on the podcast, there's a YouTube channel, both with the same name, The Cosmic Mystic. So you can listen to this in your earbuds on your walk while you're doing work around the house, errands, whatever it is, driving in the car. That's how I like to listen to podcasts, getting ready in the morning. Or if you want to see the charts and see the video, you can come on over to the channel here on YouTube. Second thing we're going to do is get into the state of the planets, what I like to call the state of the planets. And that is, where is everybody as we kick off this week? So I'm going to share my screen for those of you on the YouTube channel so we can see what is happening. So you can see as we kick off this week, we are at 21 degrees Gemini. We have moved away from that Jupiter. We've been talking about Jupiter and the sun hanging out for a bit now. Sun has finally left. It is on its travels. And so it is going to, we've got another week in Gemini. It's our last week in Gemini before we transition into Cancer next. So we've got our sun in Gemini. We've got Jupiter in Gemini. Over here, we've still got that conjunction with Venus and Uranus, both in Taurus. Chiron over here in Aries. We've got Neptune and Saturn conjunct in Pisces. We've got our north node in Aquarius, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Our moon kicks off this week in Scorpio. We've got our south node in Leo, Mars in Leo, and Mercury in Cancer. All right, so let's talk about what the sun is up to this week and some of the transits that are going to fall off, which is this first one here, which is the sextile over here to Mars. So we have had that one for almost a month now, since June 11th, and it will fall off here this week on the 12th. So on Saturday, we'll see it shift. So this one has been a lot of that confidence, that physical strength, that courage, really allowing us to do more of the physical things. You might have started a new project. You might have stepped more into that direct attitude or asserting yourself more. This has definitely been a really strong transit here with the sun. The one that is coming in that I want to talk about, and it's coming in on the 12th, which is right as the Mars transitions out. We'll see this one transition in, and that is a square over here to Chiron. So the last day for that Mars one on the 12th, the first day for this Chiron square. And we're going to see this square until the 24th of July. So for the next 12 days or so. So when we see this square with Chiron, first off, remember, whenever we're talking about Chiron, we're talking about that wounded healer. We're talking about our deep wounds, our potential for healing, those opportunities. And with this particular aspect, we are looking at self-identity. So we're looking at some of those wounds that are reflective of how we see ourselves, how we feel worthy, how we are expressing ourselves, especially with that energy being in Aries. There is an opportunity for us to resolve or to, come into, you know, connection with, I was like, what is the word? Connection with some of those unresolved issues or insecurities, those things that they're beneath the surface and they're causing some type of discomfort. We've also got the opportunity to heal those. So that's the really beautiful thing about these aspects is it's going to bring some of this to light for us. And that is that first stage in the sacred healing spiral, which is awareness. We've got to be aware that something is not working or something is underneath that we get to explore. So I often say I love my triggers because they tell me what I need to resolve. All right, the next one I want to talk about is that full moon that you're going to see start to it's actually dissipating here, but we'll see it right here on the 10th. So on Thursday, July 10th, we've got that full moon in Sagittarius. This is in the afternoon Central Time. And this is, Sagittarius is all about that truth and that freedom and that teaching, being that guide or that mentor. And with this particular full moon, the truth becomes our freedom. Our freedom becomes our greatest teacher, right? It's time to step fully into our role as the guide, as the wisdom keeper, as the hermit, the way shower. This is what this full moon is about. So your message, right? It's bringing in what your message is, how you uniquely see things and understand things. So this is a really beautiful time because this is arriving right as we have that we'll talk about in just a second, that Neptune retrograde. So remember in the July overview, which if you have not listened to that and you want to just get a full scope of what is happening, I talk in detail about the Cancer, the Sun in Cancer, the four retrogrades that we have this month, because we do have quite a few. We also talk about the full moon in Sagittarius and the new moon in Cancer. And so this is with that connection with the Saturn and the Neptune, that whole retrograde party that is happening. This is a really beautiful opportunity for us to reclaim or to claim our voice as a teacher, as an authentic visionary, as a leader, as someone who is releasing the idea of playing small and ready to step in to something much, much, much bigger. So I am super excited for this as new layers, right? New layers are unfolding for us and giving us that opportunity to step into that portal, into that timeline of where we fully embrace our role or our mission, our purpose as a teacher. We are all teachers, right? Whether you're teaching your child, whether you're teaching a friend, a coworker, a loved one, we are all teachers, my friend. All right, let's move on to Mercury, because we do have one aspect that I want to talk about here that is happening with Venus, and that is on the 12th. We're going to see Venus connect with Mercury right here in a sextile. And this is going to be here till the 22nd, so about 10 days. And this is a really fun, loving aspect here, a transit that we have with these two, because Mercury is very social and fun, and Venus is that, social energy and loving and friendly, expressive energy. And so being that she is still in her, sign that she rules over, Taurus, she's still feeling really, really good here, really social, really charming, creating really good win-win situations. Now, with the Mercury over here and it being in Cancer, that is creating more of a nurturing, loving type environment. So you might want to be connecting with people who feel fun and friendly and loving, or supporting your people. And how can we connect together, or doing, things that are more fun and a little like supportive and nurturing is what I would say. Let's go over here to Mars, because Mars has a couple of transits that I do want to talk about. First off, one that is falling off here on the 8th. So I'm going to come on over here to the 8th. And this one is one that we've talked about for a little bit. It's been since the beginning of June. And this is that sextile over here to Jupiter. So that sextile is going to fall off on the 8th. So that is where we've had that. Earlier, I talked about the sun and Mars, and we had that Jupiter because remember, they were all hanging out. And so Mars was really giving us that confidence, that strength, that courage. And so that is going to be falling off. Okay. That is going to be shifting. So you might feel a difference in your own energy. But the really interesting thing here is that we do have Mars making a square over here to Venus on the 11th. So on Friday, on her day there, we're going to see her making the square over to Mars. So this is a little bit of a little bit more tension here. So there could be some challenges in relationships, especially in existing relationships, things that may have been, there may have been a little bit of a tension around. This can really come out in a much bigger way. Um, this also is a very intense transit, I would say. So it's like whoosh, it's like a lot of quick, fast, fun, just interesting, intense, more of an intensity here, which can cause some frustration for some, right? Because we're I would just say this, this isn't the best time to address some of the underlying issues, relationship issues that you may have, whether that is with a loved one, with a friend, because there is more impulsiveness here and just saying things maybe that we feel, but maybe shouldn't be expressing it in the way that we might want to express it, that lashing out at somebody. This is why we do that work. This is why I 100% believe in breath work, to move that energy through our bodies so that we're not going ballistic on people. But this definitely is a little bit more of an intense transit. It just really increases that sexual energy to that passion, that desire. And so if there is anything that is kind of unfulfilled in that area, that can definitely bring some things up. Also, the energy of anger, hostility, that can come up as well too. So something just to keep an eye out for, my friend. All right, and we're going to see that transit all the way through till August 2nd. So pretty much the rest of July into August. All right, let's talk about Venus, because Venus does have a couple of things that are happening here that I do want to mention. First off, we talked about having that conjunction with Uranus, and you'll see that it's not there because it falls off here on the 9th. So Venus and Uranus, that excitement, that like whimsical energy is going to fall off here. But she is going to have a couple of things that we saw here at the first of the month. And that was the sextiles over here to Saturn and Neptune. So both of those are going to be here just through the rest of this week. But this is where, like, when we start to not just look at these aspects or these transits as individuals, but we look at them as a whole. I talked about that Mars and Venus kind of square and bringing in that, tense energy. Well, with Venus and Saturn, she's wanting to make things more practical, more commitment, more companionship. And so, again, if some of that has been a little on, the underlying kind of maybe tension, that could be coming up here, right? That could be part of what's coming into play. On the flip side, with Neptune, this is a really nurturing and caring, creative, expressive type energy. And so we might even find ourselves, going shopping or trying to fulfill that desire in a very creative way. So you might want to express yourself through some type of, dance or music or painting or sculpting. Creative crafting might even be be something you're wanting to step into here. Now, other thing I will also say with this transit is we've had this increase in intuition. This does heighten our intuition, especially our psychic abilities. So paying attention to the dreams that you've been having, the visions that you've been having, these are also, bringing in messages. Now, the last one I want to talk about, Venus here, came in on the 2nd. And so I just want to remind you of this one, and it's going to go through the 11th. So till, what is that, Friday? And that is this trine over here to Pluto. So we see this trine over here to Pluto that kicked off on the 2nd, and that is intensifying our passion in relationships, intensifying that desire for affection and love. This can get a little bit obsessive here and manipulative here if it's not getting what it needs. So we start to combine all of these things. There's a lot of hot energy here. There's a lot of potential for some challenges here that I just want to bring forward to you, just giving you the information. If things do come up, that's for you to look at, right? That's an opportunity for you to see and explore it just a bit more. Now, the final thing I want to talk about in this particular video is going to be that Neptune retrograde. So we see Neptune go retrograde here on 4th of July. And actually, it's going to go later on in the day here in the afternoon. You'll see right here about 3 o'clock, it goes retrograde. So this is retrograde in Pisces. So first off, Neptune in Pisces, Neptune rules over Pisces. So it is at home here. And we often see like that spiritual awakening, the dissolution of illusions, the need to separate fantasy from reality, right? Well, during the retrograde period, as I mentioned in the July overview, this energy turns more inward and really allows us for more of a deep spiritual understanding of ourselves. And so some of the things that I would recommend, the opportunities at least that we have here as far as self-mastery, becoming the best version of ourselves, doing the healing work, is to question our beliefs, question our spiritual practices, and what we have accepted as truth. It's one of the beautiful things here that, when we have this energy with Neptune, is to allow us to step deeper into what is it that we believe, like in the practices that we do, in our own rituals. What is it that we believe in those rituals, or what have we accepted as truth that maybe needs to be reevaluated? This is such a beautiful opportunity as we have all the way through December 9th to really look at this. Another thing to look at is to clear away that fog and confusion, especially around your own intuition. Like, where are you getting caught up in not trusting your intuition, not following your intuition? The other thing would be your own authentic expression or your creative work, the way that you creatively express yourself. One of my good friends and clients, I'll tell you till this day, is, she helped me really see that I am a creative person, that I am an artistic person. I don't paint. I am not a painter. If you've ever seen any of my paintings, you can tell, or my drawings, I am not a painter, not a drawer. I'm not artistic in that way. But what she pointed out to me is I'm very creative in the way that I create my drinks and the way that I was creative with my hair. And she would always compliment me on that creativity that I had, which allowed me to embody and accept my own authentic expression of creativity. So this is a really good time for you to look at yours, and how are you allowing that creativeness to come forth in you? Now, learning to distinguish between what is empathy and what is emotional absorption, meaning you taking on other people's things, because that's not what empathy is. That's not what a highly sensitive person is. We are not meant to take on other people's stuff. We are not meant to absorb all of that energy. And so that is something for us to look at and work on during this time as well. Now, from a business standpoint or from the entrepreneurial space, this is a time for us to revisit our vision, revisit our why. What is it? What is our why? What is our vision? And is that grounded in reality? Or are we doing, or is this on shaky ground, right? Is this on unsolid foundations or wishful thinking, so to speak? Our brand, is it in its authentic form, right? And so some of the things that I would invite you to do during this retrograde with Neptune is to sit with your business, to sit with the entity of your business, the energy of your business, and have a conversation about the vision and what it feels it's ready maybe to explore more, to express more, to shift. Maybe it wants to shift in some way, looking at how the branding, the essence of the business is being portrayed. Like, what does that look like? What does it feel like? What does it maybe want to shift on its own? Looking at your own customer needs. Great time to do some market research with your community and see what are they looking for, what would they love to see from you, and also taking, how is your business being built to serve a higher purpose, right? Beyond profit. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm shooting for the $1 million business too, right? I also know that it's more about the transformation. It's more about the impact in the way that I am helping and serving the collective, than it is about the bottom dollar for me, right? The bottom dollar is great. I would do this work and not get paid, right? I often will do things and don't get paid for because I love what I do. I love the work I do. I love my mission. I'm committed to that mission. And so, what is yours beyond that profit? All right, my friend, this is your Sidereal Astrology Forecast for the week of July 7th through the 13th. My friend, if you want to explore more of this energy, be sure to subscribe to the channel or to the podcast so you are notified when a new video comes out. We also have our Rise and Align series that comes out every Wednesday, where there's a quick teaching from me along with a somatic breath work that we get to do together. There's also the Inner Authority call, which is based on the Inner Alchemy method, where we'll look at, it's you and me one-on-one to look at what is in your way. If any of these things that are coming up for you, whether that's that Mars and Venus connection, that transit, whether it's this Neptune transit, anything that might be coming up for you that you're needing a guide to explore it more, to look at what's really happening in the inner world and how that might be reflecting in the outer world, or maybe you see it in the outer world and you're not sure how it's represented in the inner world, that is what I am here to guide and help you to do. And, on that call, we'll look at that. We'll look at your astrology. We'll connect in with the Akashic records. And that is going to be able to give us the insights into what soul connections this might be connected to, what maybe karmic issues that need to be resolved, or even past lives that are ready to, bring in some soul retrieval or reclaiming those parts of yourself. My friend, I would love to hop on a call with you and explore that. You'll find the link for the Inner Authority call at thepeaceteacher.com/IA call. And it's down below in the comments. All right, my friend, have a great rest of your day. Until next time, remember to keep shining your unique light.